Previously on Balls.
But we are going to try and get hold of Neil Tovey now, the last man to raise the Afcon trophy in this country on Finals Day 1996.
Hello.
Hey Neil, how's it going? Darren and the Balls gang?
Not too bad, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, all right, thank you. Welcome back to Balls Radio. I believe these guys grilled you on Thursday.
Yeah, they did.
Sorry about that. First weekend done and dusted, and all teams got a draw, so basically everyone starts off at the same base next time round. Although I think we've probably played the lightest of the four teams in that group.
Not necessarily. On statistics, no, because Cape Verde are the highest qualified in the group. But obviously on performance and past experience and Afcon experience, yeah, they are the lightest. But it's quite a balanced group. You can look at it that way. Angola and Morocco are two very, very good teams, and Cape Verde are really improved. I mean, they can't be too bad a team to draw with Nigeria 0-0 and to take out Cameroon in the qualification process. So maybe we've got to look a little bit more into it more. But at the same token, you never even came to the races, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, and the other thing I think we can add in there, which a lot of people might not realize, they are ranked higher than us as well. I think 15 places in the world, and they've got quite a few guys who are playing in the Portuguese Premier League or whatever they call it there. So they're not monkeys when it comes to playing football. But then again, on home ground, that obviously gives us a bit of an advantage as well. And as you said, they just didn't seem like. You get into a tournament like this, you really expect the boys to come flying out of the stalls, and it just didn't seem to be there.
Yeah, for every 5 minutes it looked okay. I mean, we penetrated them once or twice, and then we just seemed to think, well, we sat back, and you obviously saw that Cape Verde came there very, very tight, and they were going to catch us on the counter-attack. Yeah. But as we sat more and more back, they found out and said, look, gee whiz, these guys are sitting back now. We maybe don't have to use that type of tactic. Maybe we can just start playing ourselves and see what that brings about. But yeah, we looked like we were overawed by the occasion. We couldn't get a grip of ourselves. Our playing wise, we were losing long ball. So it just wasn't. It wasn't the normal selves. They couldn't string two or three passes together. So yeah, it wasn't a great performance by all means.
What do you put it down to? I mean, and there's talk of very nervous and stuff, which you'd expect in a big tournament like this. But do you think maybe too much of what's the talk around the team and comments after the friendlies and all the debate amongst public is allowed to filter into the team? I mean, you've been part of a team set up in this competition before. Is that generally blocked out of the team environment, or do you take in a lot of that stuff? It depends on what the public is saying about you. It can be very positive for a team, but I can imagine it can also be very damaging.
Yeah, it can be very damaging, and I mean you can't keep it out of the picture. I mean, with the communication situations nowadays with Twitter and everything around, there's just no possible way that you can keep it away from the players. Unfortunately, and they are humans. They will feel they will feel hurt, and it can either do it two ways. You can inhibit yourself, or it drives you to do better. Yeah. And I just think that we were sort of a little bit short in that aspect. We just never came to the races, as I said, and we just didn't have any confidence in any passing ability in any of our players. You expected one or two of the midfield players to get us going, and even more so when it's not going for you, for someone for you to rally on the defensive sides and get really, really energetic, close players down, and maybe intercept something and make a pass, and it suddenly it galvanizes the team, but that never happened at all.
So how does Bafana find the magic, Neil?
I think, this is a difficult process coming out of the last game where they're going to be really aware of how badly they played. I see a lot of men saying, how do you rectify the situation? I think, Gordon's got to do, it's totally a mental block. So he's got to come in and get them mentally tuned in again, get some fun in the camp somehow, at trainings, get some fun back into it, and maybe that'll just turn it around, because you can't drive them and say and get overcritical about it to them. At the same time, it's just like that, just enjoying it and getting them back to enjoying the situation.
Yeah. On-field leadership. Do you think that maybe Gordon needs to have a chat and sort of identify a few players and go, listen, guys, when you're out there, it's up to you. You've got to take it by the scruff of the neck at some stage and sort of just give that leadership that might be a little bit lacking at the moment. We've look at all successful sides, and you can almost identify immediately at least one player in that side who's the guy that gets down and when it's needed, he'll be the one that'll be shouting the odds, not necessarily getting upset with players, but just giving them a bit of a kick in the pants and say, come on guys, let's do it. Do you feel that we might be lacking a little bit in that?
Yeah, most definitely. In the 96 team we had abundance of that.
Yeah.
In this team I don't think leadership comes about you first of all doing your job correctly. I've mentioned this time and time again. For you to give instructions out to somebody else as a leader, you've got to be on top of your game.
Yeah.
First of all. And at this moment in time, that's what I'm seeing in the team. No one's really on top of their game. And that's the reason why, but you still, you've got a captain there, he's got it. When the ball goes out of play or a player goes down injured, you have to get on top of the player and say, guys, I know it's not going well, but come on, I'm looking to you. You are inspiration. Let's get it going, or you make a tackle. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to make every single tackle. We're going to make every single pass, whether it's only 5 meters, it doesn't matter. Let's just get a grip of our game and let's turn this game around. And but none of them capable of doing that at the moment, unfortunately.
Well, as you said in your side, it wasn't just yourself. There were quite a few players that would bring that. We all know what Lucas was all about as well. And I just can't help but look at the side and just go, how much are we going to end up missing Stephen Pienaar here?
Yeah, most certainly. We all know his talent and leadership. He would have brought something. We needed someone to get on the ball above anything else. There, we needed someone to get on the ball and to change the game. And we certainly will. Would have, but unfortunately, we can't dwell on the past. We have to move forward.
Now we've got to go on.
Where's it going to go, and who's going to drive it for us in the next match? And as it turns out, as you said, the next match is the cup final.
Yeah.
For all the teams in the group. You lose your second game where it's evenly balanced like it is. That's goodbye to your tournament. So at the same time, if you win it, you're right back in the mix and you're on top of everything. So you can galvanize and kickstart that tournament.
All right. Having just final question, having seen all 4 teams on day one, did you see anything there that we should be generally concerned about, particularly with Angola, Morocco now, our next 2 games?
Yeah, the other 2, obviously Angola. Let's talk about Angola first because they're first up. Angola have that ability. They're a tough nut to crack, but they have definitely their weaker areas. The left side of their defence is not the strongest. They're good centrally. They're quite tough centrally, and so we've got to get in behind them. Morocco always be well organised, and they always get that third man running and that diagonal ball. So we've got to be very, very careful about that. We've got to go with our runners from midfield. They do get into the box, but nothing to say, oh God, this is going to be a nightmare for us.
Yeah.
No, not at all. We can't able have the ability to beat
both those sides. Well, let's leave it on that positive. There we go. Still a way to go in this competition. It's not done and dusted. Neil, we appreciate your time at short notice chatting to us here on Balls Radio this afternoon. Enjoy the rest of the tournament. Thanks a lot, bud.
Yeah, absolute pleasure.
Cheers, man. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Neil Tovey joining us on Balls Radio this afternoon. Some pertinent things to say.
Yeah. I look at Graham's tweet here, and he says
Graham Smith.
No, Graham Ashley. Nerves of opening match, it will get better. But then I think you're playing against Cape Verde Island, who have a population of 500,000 people, and they can bring it.
And this is their first tournament. They've never been on the stage before. In a foreign country.
And they can bring it.
Yeah.
We are the host. We have a population of 50 million plus, and we can't get it together.
Of Cape Town.
I just think it's cause for a bit of soul searching.
How many minutes now since you scored a goal? Also, that sits in the back of your head,
Yeah.
It's you start thinking, when is that next one ever going to come?
Well, like we spoke to Neil on Thursday about it, and we said as a unit, they look good. They don't look bad. But when it comes to finishing and putting the ball in the back of the net, something seems to be going wrong.
Yeah.
And you watch these guys and their teams, their local teams, or the guys that play overseas and stuff. They're doing well for their local clubs, but then put them together. I don't know what's
And
going
they can't
on.
gel.
It's like the combination that a lot of people were surprised at the combination that Gordon put out on Saturday. But also, like, they represent the country. They just didn't give it their all at all.
Yeah.
I liked what Neil said, maybe bring a bit of fun into that camp as well. Maybe they're being a bit too serious.
But I mean, you don't know what Gordon's doing. Maybe he is trying that.
Now, I believe there's some strippers on the way right now.
Grand.
This is Bulls Visual Radio. Darren, Simon, Kate, and John. Weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central African Time. Bulls.co.za